Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another top 10 video. And the reason I'm actually making this one is so that you guys actually have something to watch while I go ahead and make my 3 days video. Unfortunately, Absman is the one that won and not Black Cat, which... But back to the topic of this video, we're here to talk about the top 10 most underrated champions. But before we do go ahead and start off with the list, I do want to say that there's not really a definite way of seeing which champion is the most underrated, so this list is pretty much just based off of bias and opinion alone. It's a list of champions that I think don't get enough recognition as well as not really played enough by the community. But for now, let's actually start off with spot number 10.
¿Dónde está el titán speaker, man? Lo han desinfectado.
Starting off with spot number 10, we have Shocker, who is a champion that was severely underlooked when he first came into the game, but now that he was dropped as a 7-star, a lot more people started to see his potential. But of course, with him being on this list, it pretty much means he's not as valued as he's supposed to be. Shocker is a very simple and straightforward champion. You pretty much want to build up his Vibro Shock charges and then consume them with the heavy attack to deal a lot of heavy attack damage, and at a 7-star rank 3 level, he can pretty much deal like 800 or 700,000 damage with his heavy attack, so he's definitely not a champion to underestimate. He's a very valuable champion to have as an attacker, as well as on defense. He does have a few mechanics that can pretty much get into your way, and overall he's pretty much just a very great champion. But moving on to spot number 9, we have the Overseer, a champion that exists as a 7-star yet still doesn't see as much play as he's supposed to, one with a lot of damage, one with a lot of utility, as well as just a very Giga Chad looking champion. It's literally just Maestro in his 30s. On defense, he's not really the hardest champion to go against. He does have auto block, which can lengthen the duration of a fight, but other than that, he's not really that much of a problem. As an attacker, however, this dude brings a lot to the table. He's immune to Nullify, Fate Steal, as well as stagger effects. He's immune to poison, and he also reduces the opponent's ability accuracy, even though it's only during special attacks. He has taunt, he can go stun immune, he has auto block in case you mess up, and let's not even talk about his damage, cause nice. Every time the opponent gains a bar of power, he gains 1 gamma charge, and once he has 3 of these, he can then go into cosmic mode, which allows his light attacks to deal a burst of damage. And this damage, oh my god, if you want to see how high it can currently get, I'd recommend you to go check out a video from BMcG where he uses him at a 7-star rank 3 level. He's a very simple champion to use, he does a lot of damage, he has a ton of utility, but unfortunately he's not recognized by a lot of people in the community. But moving over to spot number 8, we have Massacre Valkyrie, light budget Valkyrie, or Valkyrie we got before actual Valkyrie. He's a champion that is recognized by most, but still not recognized on a much larger scale, hence why he's here at spot number 8. The dude has damage like no other. He pretty much has 2 forms of dealing damage. The first is his Incinerates, which once he builds up enough of his ignition charges, he then becomes ignited and is able to inflict Incinerates on the opponent. Now these Incinerates don't really last too long, but they actually do a lot of damage. You can actually stack these up to a pretty high number, and trust me, that damage is insane. The second main form of dealing damage is via the SP2, which you always want to throw into the opponent's block for extra damage. Unfortunately, as a defender, he isn't really the best, but as an attacker, he pretty much has enough value to make up for it. Coming in at spot number 7, we have Allison's favorite, and that is Ronin. Now, as much as people say he's not really that great, his damage isn't really that impressive, those are lies. Ronin is a champion that offers a lot of things, one that takes a little bit of practice in order to get used to, as well as one that has a lot of value. He has different stances and each stance gives him different effects, His guard stance allows him to parry non-contact hits, as well as a 100% chance to purify a debuff. His Wraith stance reduces defensive ability accuracy by 40%. His Demon stance gives his bleeds additional amounts of ability accuracy, and they can also be inflicted through the block. He can evade special attacks, he has 100% safety when it comes to intercepting. There's a lot of things that this dude can do, and so instead of trying to persuade you on why he's good, I'll actually just recommend you to go check out Allison's channel. Moving on to spot number 6, we have Fishman himself, Atuma. Now I know what you're thinking, this dude is definitely not underrated, especially on defense, but as an attacker, no one uses him at all. Now it is understandable as to why people choose to not play him as an attacker, because his playstyle is a little bit tight. His playstyle is focused on converting hydration passives into concussion debuffs, and the only way you can do this is with your heavy attack, which doesn't have the best range in the world. But after that, you pretty much just want to keep building more and more concussion debuffs, because the more of them that you have, then the more damage that you'll be doing. His damage potential is insane, and the amount of damage that he can actually do with his bleed debuffs, oh my goodness, the opponent is ticking. But unfortunately, when it comes to places like Battlegrounds, his build up just takes a bit too long in order to consider. Also, he's just much better as a defender, but it does not mean he's a horrible attacker at all. Spot number 5, Hercules, Viv Vision. It's Viv Vision, one of the most slept on tech champions in the game, with a unique playstyle as well as a sort of new way of dealing damage. No one in the game can spam special ones like she does. So the way her rotation works is you pretty much want to go up to the SP2 and then you throw it while trying to get the perfect releases, which in my opinion make the character a whole lot worse, but it is what it is, man. And then after that you build up to the SP1, and once you're at it you then throw it off again and again and again until the opponent dies. She has heal blocks, she power drains the opponent, and she also has ways to mitigate the damage she takes, because her stats are super low and very underwhelming, but she does have a phase passive which sort of makes up for it. She does require a lot of skill, however, because if you want to be taking less damage, then you pretty much have to play perfectly with her. You can phase special attacks, you can phase basic attacks. I feel like with the phasing alone, she might actually be on the same level as Tigra. The only sad part about her is the fact that she doesn't really have any ways to gain back her armor up buffs. Once she consumes them with the SP2, then that's pretty much it. So to sum it all up, she's perfect for short to medium length fights, but struggles heavily when it comes to longer fights. And some long fights she just can't do at all. Spot number 4, we have my personal favorite champion in the game. Actually, there's 3 of them, but this is one of them, and that is Antivenom. A champion with a lot of utility as well as just a lot of damage, and his animations are so smooth to play, or I don't even know how to explain it, man. I just love this dude too much. He can choose between one of 3 debuffs to apply onto the opponent, and he applies that debuff on every 10 hit of his combo meter. His Spectre debuff reduces the opponent's regen rate by a certain amount. His Disorient reduces defensive ability accuracy as well as block proficiency, and his Decelerate lowers evade as well as unstoppable effects. He can stop mystic unblockable effects, he can inflict stagger, he can heal damage taken through the block, he has Petrify. There's a ton of things that this dude can do, but the only drawback you have from using him is you either have to deal damage or sacrifice his utility. He gains his fury buffs by removing the debuffs that he places on the opponent, meaning you're gonna have to choose between one or the other. He does have a synergy that helps fix this, although it's sort of based off of chance, but even then he's still a very good champion, as well as one that's not really used a lot by the community. But moving on to spot number 3, we have Mr. Fantastic, the man who's only seen in war as well as questing. He has evade, he has Petrify, he has suppression debuffs which decrease the opponent's combat power rate, he can increase the potency of damage over time debuffs by 25%, He can reduce the attack rating of the opponent's special attack, and most importantly, he has the damage. He's a very versatile champion that can be used in a lot of difficult scenarios. He's pretty much just a jack of all trades, I think. Now mine's only at rank 1, so I haven't really used him that much, but from the things I hear and the things I've seen from him, he's a pretty slept on champion. His pre-fight ability is one of the best things to ever come into the game, giving different champions a lot of different utility, and also him being the coolest champion in the game since he's pretty much just Luffy from One Piece. And in my opinion, the only drawbacks that this champion has is the fact that you want him to be at SIG 200. But other than that, I can't really say too much on him. I haven't ranked him up and I haven't tested him enough. Spot number 2, we have a champion that a lot of people are disappointed with, especially since they got them from their Titan Crystal, and that champion is Jabari Panther. Now to be fair, Jabari is sort of being replaced by Shield. They sort of do the same things, although in a different way, but I do think Jabari still has a lot of value, as well as a lot of damage. She has a playstyle that revolves around parrying the opponent, getting a hit in, and then gaining the certain amount of charges, and once you actually gain 10 of them, you then enter your damage dealing phase. Now in the damage dealing phase, if you launch your special tool, the opponent is most likely going to be melting, and the numbers you'll be seeing from her will be super shocking. She's amazing on defense. She has these cleanse charges which can sort of get you off guard if you're not ready for it. She has stun immunity and she can prevent the opponent from dexing, evading, or even to miss their attacks. A heavily slept on champion, but like I said, we have Shield now, so sorry Jabari, you look like a Ferrari. And finally, spot number 1, we have Venom Pool. And I'm not even joking, the last time I heard someone speak about him was like a year ago. The dude has fallen off like nobody's business. There was even a time where he used to be compared to Venom, but now Venom is on top because he exists as a 7-star, and Venom Pool, he's nowhere to be seen. Even with Necropolis finally being here, which is the long-term content that such a champion likes, I don't think anyone has ever brought him into Necropolis. As for his abilities, he gains different buffs which allow him to do more damage, allow him to gain more power, as well as allow him to heal. His best matchups are definitely against tech champions, cause he'll be immune to power drain, power burn, shock effects, as well as armor break debuffs, and overall, he'll just have more benefits. I do hope we get him as a 7-star sometime soon, so that we can see what he can do at a 7-star rank 3 level. But for now, he'll simply just be a memory of the past. And that is pretty much it for the top 10 most underrated champions in the game. Let me know down in the comments who you guys would have wanted to see in the list. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to join my Discord group, the link will be down in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
你好，How are you? What are you doing?